of my books, I interviewed a doctor from Belgium, and he said to me, when we come to America, we are shocked at how deformed everyone is. And that's because we are in the middle of an obesity epidemic. So odds are that most people watching have had their doctor say, you might want to drop a few pounds. Well, my next guest is a doctor. She's been through diet hell personally, but along the way, she learned some really important lessons, and she's here to share the secret about sugars and give us the lowdown on labels that don't quite lie, but they certainly mislead us. Welcome, Stacy. Dr. Stacy Nottingham from Life Extension. Well, it's hard to believe when I look at you, you're just this hot babe, and you tell me you used to not be a slim person.
Thank you so much. If I could get off the chair and hug you, I would.
How much weight did you lose?
I have lost over 100 pounds 3 times. And my mom and I actually sat down and tried to figure out how much weight I've lost and gained. Says, is right?
That's you.
That's me. Probably about 1,000 pounds.
You know what? You're beautiful. So tell me about the journey. Your weight journey.
Well, you know, the most critical time for me was when I was 30 years old. And
how old were you in that picture we just saw?
I was probably in my 20s, so that was one of my big weight gains. And I actually had a really wonderful doctor who never made me feel uncomfortable about gaining weight and losing weight and gain. He always asked me a ridiculous question, which was, how did it happen again? Well, how do you think it happened? I ate it. Okay, that's how it happened again. But he actually said to me, he said, Stace, you know, you're going to run out of luck. You're 30 years old. Thank God your numbers are good now. You're not a diabetic. The cholesterol's okay, but you're at risk for diabetes. You're going to be at risk for cardiovascular disease. You're going to be at risk for cancer. It's time to really get this under control. You're not a kid anymore.
Did that scare you?
It really did scare me, but I needed to come up with something that was going to be for the rest of my life, not just get to the goal and end the problem just to gain the weight back again. So I had decided that I was going to become a vegetarian. I really did make the change. And I went from the white potato to the yam. I went from the white rice to the brown rice, and I was eating all those good carbs and eliminated all the bad carbs. And I wasn't gonna weigh myself because it wasn't about getting to the goal. This was gonna be a lifetime change. And about 3 months into the program, I got on the scale and I had gained another 30 pounds.
From the carbs?
From the carbs.
Okay, so you put the weight on, going vegetarian, you got fat.
Fat, really fat.
Really fat.
At record speed. At record speed. So
it's great you have humor about this.
Right. So I had to really figure out what was going on. I'm eating all these good carbs, and I realized it was in the carbs. It was all in the carbs. The good carbs were not good for me.
Right.
And every time I was eating a carb, I had realized that 1 gram of carb equals 1 gram of sugar. And that changed my life, and I'm hoping that this will change millions of lives today.
Explain how this can translate to the viewer out there. What do they need to know?
Okay. Every time you eat a carb, bread, rice, pasta, potato, oatmeal, okay? I don't care how many grains are in the bread. From 10 to 1,000,000 grains. I have people bringing me in all kinds of food to show me how many grains. Every time you eat a carb, the body will convert it to sugar. If you have a good carb, the good carbs, the more complex carbs, it takes a little bit longer. That's true. But the end result is sugar.
Right.
Okay, so every time we have sugar, the pancreas releases insulin. And then insulin is the director of sugar. And insulin decides where that sugar's going.
Right. You were talking to me before the show about labeling and the kind of deceitful way they label. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I call it the dieter's war zone, and that's the supermarket. And that was another thing that really changed my life. And especially for diabetics. I talk to my diabetic patients all the time. Don't look at the sugar count. Remember, it's very simple. 1 gram of carb equals 1 gram of sugar. So for example, if you have a label that says possibly 8 grams of carbs and it has 1 gram of sugar, you think, oh, that's great. I can eat that. It's 1 gram. It's not. Remember, every gram of carb converts to sugar.
So how much? Show us.
So here's, you think you're getting that, 1 gram of sugar.
Right.
And anything under 5 grams of sugar your body does not have a pancreas response. Insulin is not, that's right, insulin is not released. But in this case, we have 8 grams of carbs, which are going to convert to sugar. So this one goes to...
So we're thinking we're getting this.
If we're thinking of this, we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, my.
6, 7, 8.
That's like a quarter of a cup of sugar. So when they are reading labels, they need to be able to calculate this.
Exactly. I kept it very simple. There are people who I work with, and I work with thousands of people. You can subtract the fiber, you can subtract the sugar, alcohol. Just keep it simple. Look at the carb count.
Are there any supplements that support the lifestyle you live now?
Absolutely. It's really important to keep the sugar down as much as possible. We really don't want to have the pancreas release insulin. One of my favorite products is coffee berry, the green coffee berry. I take 400 milligrams breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I also do it before I go to sleep. The lower the sugar, the more fat you burn.
I do notice when I take the green coffee berry before each meal that I don't eat as much and I'm not craving food.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful supplement. A lot of people are familiar with chromium, cinnamon, arlopoic acid. You can either do one with every meal, you can stack them depending on how your meal is, but I do something with every single meal, and I always do something before I go to sleep. I love to burn fat while I sleep.
Just great information. So if people want to get the Dr. Stacy strategy for dieting, where do they find you?
lef.org.
Great.
To learn more about what you've heard today on The Suzanne Show, sign up now for the Ultimate Health Giveaway, brought to you by Life Extension. You'll receive a free special report all about natural approaches for losing weight. Plus, you'll get a free 1-year Life Extension membership with no obligation and access to groundbreaking information for longer life. You'll also be entered for a chance to win exciting prizes every week, including a luxury cruise. Sign up now for the Ultimate Health Giveaway at SuzanneTV.com or at the Suzanne Show Facebook page.